What is going on, UFC card lovers? Welcome back here to another episode of UFC Card Talk. My name is Damien, and if you're new to this UFC card channel, here at UFC Card Talk, I like to talk about everything to do with UFC cards, from collecting to investing, and also recent UFC card hobby news. This week's episode, it is an important episode in my own opinion. It is an important episode. I want to make the main focus of this episode about FOMO.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
FOMO obviously stands for fear of missing out, and I really experienced this in the past 2 weeks in my hobby journey. It is something that is not new to me, a feeling that is not new to me, but something that I still really seem to struggle with. And I know a lot of card content creators mention about it. I have mentioned about it before. But I really think it's something that is important enough to have more of a discussion about. And that's what we're going to be doing in this week's episode. If you are new to this UFC card channel, if you enjoy UFC cards, then I can suggest that you hit that subscribe button. If you get to the end of the video, if you thought, you know what, I don't mind Damien, I like UFC cards, it was a good fit, you can also hit that like button. And while you're hitting buttons, you may as well just hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on my weekly UFC card related videos. Just before we get into the main topic of this episode, I do want to touch on a little bit of UFC card news. For those of you who have not heard yet, I'd be surprised if you haven't, but maybe you haven't, they have released that Optic UFC will be back for 2023. Basically, it means that we will be getting a higher end product, basically a duplicate product almost of what we already had with Don Russ earlier in the year. As we go over to the Panini website for UFC, we can see there is no release date yet here, just still the 2022 Pink Ice Prism Pack, which I've been struggling to sell. Surprised I haven't discounted them yet at $25. They've been up for well over a year, almost a year now. But we can check over this Icon Collectibles. It has listed date here as estimated time of arrival 31st of January 2024. So for those of you who do not remember, we did see Optic last year. I do believe it was in December or maybe late November. But once again, Panini, they are on the back burner. Obviously, the latest release was Chronicles. It was a bit over a month late, so not that surprising to now see that Optic is obviously probably pushed back a month as well, maybe a little bit longer than a month. And I'm honestly surprised to see, I didn't even know if we were going to see Optic again this year. Who knows what's going on with the licensing issues. Obviously, Panini have this released at 2024. Even if they have, I mean, obviously we're just speculating now, but who knows what's going on. We haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything, and I'm sure you guys will hear something the same time that I do. But I don't know what's going on, but obviously, as it is at the moment, we have Optic. It's not going to come out this year. It's going to be out next year for 2023. Does that mean we will get Immaculate after that? Obviously, in Panini's era so far, we have had 2 years of Immaculate. This is the second year of Optic, so if we have a third year of Immaculate, it might be coming out. Basically, Immaculate at this rate will be coming out when 2024 Prism would be coming out, technically. Who knows what's going on? All I know is this is what is at the moment. But so let me know what you guys think. Are you guys keen for this Optic product? From the way that I've seen at the moment, we got the base insert Optic there. We've got the rated rookie gold vinyl. Too much bordering on this card for me to be interested. As we go over to some of the inserts, I mean, that downtown there for John Jones, by the looks of it, looks a little bit of an improvement from last year. We've got this Rising Suns, which looks like, I don't even know what that is. That looks terrible. Something you cut off a cereal box. And we've got the lighted up there for Islam. And then we have some autos as well. So the Optigraphs are back. I don't know, guys. I am not at all interested. As you guys know, I do not typically buy a new product to rip anyway. But even if I was, this is probably not something that I'm interested in, to be honest. And Optic last year didn't seem to do that well. A lot of the hobby boxes that I saw ripped, people pulled absolutely nothing, and I think that turned off a lot of other people from actually buying the product as well. And then even if you check out the individual sales on the selling platforms, Optic basically is a very, very much less desired product from what we've seen so far, and that was the debut year of Optic from last year. So I can't imagine this year's Optic is going to do much better, but we will wait and see. So I want to get into the main topic of this video, and that is talking about fear of missing out and how it relates to buying cards, not only UFC cards, but maybe buying other collectibles in general. I'm sure I'm not the only one who experiences this, and I'm sure there's a lot of people behind the camera there who will relate with what I'm about to talk about. I had a week period, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where I just literally, there was 3 listings on eBay. 2 of them were buy it nows, 1 was an auction. The auction was the first one that I missed out on. It was the 2021 Champions Auto for Israel Adesanya. That card, it's not so much a PC card, I wouldn't say, but I just do really, really like that card, and it would be a card that I would like to have in my collection and just hold on to for a period of time. But that card at auction, I did put a bid in. I put in a low bid in, as I typically do. Set a snipe that I do. Obviously, the auction ending late at night, early in the morning here, so it was just a snipe bid. And I missed out. I didn't miss out by much, but just the fact that I missed out and the fact that I didn't miss out by much, that was enough for me to feel that sort of that feeling in the stomach, like, oh, I really wish I had to put a higher bid in. And who knows what the higher bid would have been. I mean, I could have put in another $100 on my bid, and that doesn't guarantee I would have won it. But that was enough to sort of to kickstart these feelings of, oh man, I wish I had have jumped on that card a bit sooner, or maybe put a higher bid in for that card. And then next up, we had the 2022 Gold Prism for Max Holloway. It was in a PSA 9. It was as a buy it now on eBay, and it was already listed at a very, very decent price. It was listed at $150. PSA 9, I know. The centering on this card, which I've spoken about before, for my PC cards, for these cards that I want to have for almost eternity, because that is one of the cards that I do want to have for eternity, is the 2022 Gold Prism for Max Holloway. It is his 2nd year Gold Prism, but not only that, it's his 2nd vertical Gold Prism. So he does have a Gold Prism that is a vertical card in the 2021 Prism product. Obviously, being the debut year of Prism, being the iconic Gold Prism, that card is a little bit out of my wheelhouse at the moment. Maybe one day, who knows? But I really thought that this 2nd year 2022 Vertical Prism was a card that was very attainable. I'm trying to work out a deal with a guy at the moment on Instagram, sort of waiting to hear back from him for his copy, and this has been an ongoing waiting deal for quite some time now, almost 6 weeks. So this other card popped up. I did want to hit the buy it now as it was, but I thought maybe give this other guy on Instagram a benefit of the doubt, wanting to get his copy instead. I had basically committed to get his copy, was just waiting on his details to send him the money. And this other copy popped up on eBay, and I thought to myself, maybe I should get both. I mean, this one was, as I said, it was listed at $150, which I think is absolutely insane for a Max Holloway 2nd year Gold Prism, even in a PSA 9. I wanted to buy both. I am denied about hitting the buy it now right there and then, but I thought I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I'll wait a day. Basically, waited a day, which was too long, because overnight, during that night, the seller had actually sent out an offer to people watching that card, which I was one of the people watching that card, for $100. What? That was basically a 33% off. What the fuck? Offered out to the watchers. And of course, woke up that morning when I actually had sort of woke up. I normally like to sleep on things, so I woke up, that card was sold. Someone bought it at $100, which is an absolute steal, but I hope whoever that card went to, it's his forever home, and they can feel as happy as I would be if I was to get that card. Nevertheless, was super disappointed to have missed out on that card, especially a Gold Prism of a fighter who I PC, a card that I would just really love to have in my collection long term. And then thirdly, I stumbled across this Sean O'Malley. It was a Leaf product, one of one. It was called the Whatnot exclusive one of one. I personally don't like Leaf products, and I personally think even their one of ones, they're just so manufactured to the amount that I don't think their one of ones are that rare at all. But this card popped up on my eBay. It was listed as a $200 buy it now. I sat on this one as well. I really thought what was special about this Leaf one of one, as I'll put it up on the screen now so you see what it looks like. It kind of reminded me of the gold flashback prism mixed with a gold prism. It had the sticker auto on it. Not sure if you guys have noticed, but I have noticed that unless it's a UFC autograph, Sean, he typically does a short signature. He sort of just does his first name on the card and not his last name. So it's not the best auto for him as well. It was a sticker auto, but the card I just thought looked absolutely amazing. It sort of ticked all those boxes for me aesthetically. But I was put off that it was literally a Whatnot exclusive. That's what the product was called, from Leaf. So that sort of set me off, and then I thought maybe I should wait. I like to think about my purchases before I just rush in and buy them and then have instant regret. Obviously did that the same thing. I literally thought about this card for a day and a half. I then decided it's technically a one of one. There's not like there's going to be other copies there I can potentially pick up if I change my mind about, and I just did really love the design. Problem was, when I decided this, as I said, literally a day and a half later, went to my eBay to bin that card and it was gone. So basically this was all within a span of a week, and after that third card in a week that I'd missed out, that I decided that I wanted and I'd waited too long, and I knew that I couldn't have that card anymore, it really got me in that space where you sort of feel like nothing's good enough. Not even the cards that you have in your own collection is good enough, because all you're doing is focusing on these cards that you missed out on. And that's a little bit like what life is in general. I don't know what it is about human beings. We always tend to focus on the negative. We focus on what we don't have more so than what we do have. And even though I know all this, even though I feel like I'm self-aware enough to know that it's just a card, and I'm probably feeling these stronger emotions just because I've missed out on it, who's to say I didn't buy it and then I had it, maybe regretted it in a month or so. Obviously that's quite a possibility as well, because I do understand that the feelings of missing out are normally amplified in the moment, and I certainly was feeling that. I've tried looking in since then. As I said, I think this is really an important topic that hasn't really been talked about before, and I just wanted to make this video not only to sort of help myself talk through it, but also maybe get some of your guys' opinion. I did put out an Instagram post story just to see what you guys do about FOMO and when it hits you guys, so I will get to those responses in a minute. But I wanted to make a video about this, make this the focus topic, put it out there so you guys can maybe learn a thing, as well as just basically explaining my own story. But I've started to sort of look into what FOMO actually is. What causes that fear of missing out? Unfortunately, when looking on Google, most of the results related to the definition related to social media and missing out on social gatherings and things like that, which is completely not related to where my fear of missing out was coming from. But I did find this one good article that spoke about fear of missing out. So FOMO is defined as a psychological phenomenon in e-commerce that indicates when you feel like you are going to lose out on buying an amazing product or an amazing card, for us, at a great price from a store or from a selling platform. And it's a marketing term to describe the feeling that buyers feel that they will regret it if they do not purchase a product on time or a card on time, for us. Basically, this leaves buyers anxious and regretful, feeling to take action because they do not want to miss out. This is a very common feeling that almost everyone has experienced while shopping for something. So this is what FOMO actually does. When someone wants to purchase something from a store and saw a 3 stock remaining, The FOMO triggers them to purchase it right now because they do not want to lose out on that product, even if we want to buy it at a later stage. You are missing out. So the thing that I was left with most was when I did miss out, especially after missing out on that third card for the week. I wanted to go straight to my watch list, and I wanted to start buying up cards all of a sudden in my watch list because I had this fear that I was going to miss out on those as well. So here are some statistics they have on fear of missing out. They say that 69%, 7 in 10 people of millennials experience FOMO. 60% of people make purchases because of FOMO. And then also 41% of millennials have completed an in-store transaction with their mobile device. So these are some techniques that online commerce stores, including eBay and selling platforms, will use. They basically they'll have a time limit. So this will, like the end of an auction date or the end of a selling, maybe even a buy it now, listings do have time limits. So stock limit, that could be things like limited print runs, limited parallel numbers, serial numbered cards, and then also not only that, but then what is then available to buy on the selling platforms. We have the real-time alerts. So obviously these selling platforms, auction platforms, even the buy it now listings, we will be notified when these listings are ending soon, which adds to the basically to that time structure that they want you to feel like you're pressured to get it within a certain time frame. And then popular products. So we can relate this with maybe the more popular parallels, the popular inserts, or the most in-demand cards, whether it's fighters or parallels. Then it goes on to talk about this lack of supply is not only pushing up prices, but also creating a fear of missing out for buyers in the marketplace. And just reading that one point about supply and demand causing my FOMO, it made so much sense just because, as I said, the Prism Auto, it's a desired card. It was a low numbered card for Israel Adesanya, the first card that I missed out on. I think it was numbered to 35 and there was another one numbered to 49. I bid on both of them, missed out on both of them. Then the Max card, obviously a gold Prism, another highly desired card, also numbered to 10. And then we had the 1 of 1 Sean O'Malley card. As I said, even though it was a Leaf Pack product, it was a 1 of 1. So just knowing that the very low lack of supply of that card that I particularly wanted, and pairing that with the chances that card may not be in my grasp again as it was just recently, I think that's really what stings. It's not like it's a PSA 10 of a 2021 base Prism for Sean O'Malley that I'm bidding on and missing out on and getting upset and getting FOMO over. No, it's these cards that are lower serial numbered, are less in supply and higher in demand that is basically causing these feelings of FOMO for me. So just understanding that, just seeing that on paper and thinking about that logically has sort of helped me understand where this is stemmed from. And I think that's important to when it comes to emotionally buying something, which plenty of us do when it comes to buying sports cards, buying UFC cards, buying with emotion, buying anything with emotion, you sort of need to be able to break it down logically in order to sort of feel better about it. And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment with my fear of missing out, because this is not the first instance I've had this. And it's something that at the moment I'm trying to get a hold of, just because I've been buying more UFC cards than I ever have in the past 6 months, spending more money than I ever have in the past 6 months. Now, yes, granted, I am fortunate enough that I do have that extra income that I can be putting towards cards. I also am trying to sort of make money in other ways, make extra money in other ways in order to put towards UFC cards. So I'm definitely not going out of my own means and spending probably more money than I should. But at the same time too, yes, some of this money I am spending on UFC cards is coming from savings, which is not always a healthy thing. And if you don't keep that in check, that can obviously get out of control. And one of the biggest problems that I've come to realize that I personally have, even though I have been buying more cards in the last 6 months than I ever have, adding more cards to my collection than I ever have, My biggest problem is, as an international collector, is I currently don't have these cards in hand. A lot of the cards that I've been buying, I don't have here in physical representation. I haven't had a mail day in probably 3 or 4 months now. And as I said, I've been buying all these cards in the meanwhile, and I don't feel like I have anything to show for it, just because those cards are currently sitting in my Ship My Card inventory, and they're a little bit out of sight, out of mind at the moment. So it makes it easier for me to sort of forget about what I already have instead of just focusing on what's next for the collection. So I've been adding all these really, really cool cards, spending some good dollars on my collection, and I don't have those cards here with me right now, so I can't appreciate them, and it makes me sort of forget about what I already have, which is quite sad, to be completely honest. And that's why going through this process of trying to work out where I'm at in the hobby right now, where I am at in my hobby journey, obviously sharing this with you guys as well, trying to keep myself accountable, it's helped me realize a few things. So the question is now is, where do I go from here? What do I do about this constant feeling of missing out on something, the constant hunt for something, spending money on something else, finding a newer card or finding a rarer card that I just feel like I need to have for my collection instead of appreciating what I already have? Is the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to bulk up a lot of my cards that are sitting in my Ship My Card inventory, and I'm going to get them sent here over the next few weeks, and that way I'm going to have a massive mail day incoming. I'm going to have all these cards to sort through my PC, be able to display them here behind me, show off some of my cards, or not, if not all the cards, in a mail day video for you guys as well. But that way it's going to give me an appreciation for what I already have instead of dwelling on what I missed out on. I think another thing that's important for me to do is to start setting some stricter boundaries. So I wrote out a few months ago now, sort of a new direction that I wanted to have for my hobby journey, what I wanted to do when it came to buying and selling. And to be honest, even though I wrote that down on paper, I haven't been great at sticking to it. So I want to now put some stricter rules in place that I feel like I just personally need to, in order to not get too outside of myself when it comes to buying UFC cards. So one of those might be, for instance, at the moment, I've talked about this numerous times, it's such, like I keep telling myself, it's such a great buying environment. The prices are so low, the index is down so low, cards are cheaper than they have ever been. And yes, although that is true for a lot of cards, it's also just a justification for myself to then say it's okay, as I said, to dip into some of my savings and buy these cards that I feel like I need to buy them now, because if I don't buy them now, I'm going to regret it in 5 years' time when maybe they're going to cost a lot more to buy. That, for me at the moment, and now from now on, it's not okay. I want to keep myself accountable. I don't want to be justifying buying cards when I probably should take a step back and realize that I shouldn't. So from now on, as I was getting at, I want to set some stricter boundaries. And to be fair, one of those stricter boundaries, a simple one, could be not to get cards when they're a buy it now. Yes, it is a great time to be buying cards at the moment. Cards are at an all-time low, and although I could be missing out on some really amazing cards that I would want for my collection to have long term, they're going to be the cheapest now than they will be in the future. But to buy it now is probably not the best idea at the moment. Just try and stick to auctions, that way that I am sort of getting it for potentially lower value, maybe the lowest value you could get it, especially if auctions are starting at 99 cents. And then, as I said, I have been good enough to be using a sniping tool. I have done a video on using a sniping tool for you guys who are interested in doing that when it comes to putting in bids on eBay or other selling platforms. So that way I can just sort of set it and forget it, and because I have been good at that. I will admit, as I mentioned with the Izzy card, I didn't get too out of my own realm. I put a bid in that I just thought was, a healthy bid. I thought was an okay bid. If I won it, I won it. If I didn't, I didn't. but at least I didn't get out of myself. I didn't put too high of a bid in that I was uncomfortable to pay. So that method is, and that tool itself is a good way to sort of keep myself accountable. Yes, I'll have more times when I feel like I missed out and I should have bid more, but at least I'm not overpaying on a buy it now, or I'm not buying a card now and regretting it a week later. So I'm going to come up with these own little ways, set some stricter rules for myself. Obviously talk about this more with you guys, keep myself more accountable as well. I think that's something we can all do together as a community. If you guys are sort of having problems with this as well, be sure to reach out to me, reach out to maybe some of your other hobby friends, because it's alright. It's alright to be honest about things that maybe, obviously this hobby is fantastic. These cards we're so passionate about, we love, but it's sometimes hard to be negative about it when it is a hobby, something that we enjoy so much. But I think it's okay to be that. And yeah, I think that doing this now, I hope this helps some of you guys. Even if it helps one of you guys, as I always say, that is enough for me. I would be interested to see or hear from you guys in the comments. So let me know down in the comments below how you deal with FOMO. I did get some responses on my Instagram. Some people, the majority of people said was just to turn back to your own PC and have that gratitude for the cards that you already have, more so than what you missed out on. Other people said, you missed out on a card, you've got more money to put towards another cooler card that may come in the future. So would be interested to hear what you guys do when it comes to missing out. If you were struggling with it, obviously let us know your opinions, your story in the comments below as well. I appreciate all of you guys for watching as per usual, and I will see you in here next week at UFC Card Talk.
Is he fucking awesome?